What's going on, guys? This is the Nooba Streams, and welcome back to another Draft League match. Today we are doing the... I forgot the league name. Today we are doing the PUDL. That's what it is. Pokemon Ultra Draft League. And today we are going up against Lalo. I really like my team that I drafted this time. Basically, the whole purpose of the team that I drafted was to draft Mons that I used in the past and didn't do well with, or Mons that I really wanted to try that I really like and haven't gotten the chance to yet. But his team is really interesting to prep for. He didn't have a Pokemon that was faster than Latios, which is 110 speed. So it made EVing the Dragapult really simple. All I had to do was outspeed that, and then basically the rest goes into bulk. I threw the Culber Berry on it just so that I lived better against... I don't remember the calc on Swords Dance Sucker Punch from Lycanroc, but this helps me live that, as well as like knockoffs from fast Iron Treads if they have booster energy, for example. Aurora Veil's annoying, so I made sure I had an Infiltrator on that thing. And then everything else, like Jirachi is my Ninetales 100% switch in, even if he has Aurora Veil up. Iron Head does like almost 50%. And then having Terra Electric Rotom is actually really nice. I have Rocky Helmet on it. It's a bulky Rotom. It helps me deal with Scyther quite a bit. Get damage done to that as well. But navigating the Clodsire will be really interesting because I'm really worried about him toxicking my team and poisoning things. So that's one of the reasons why I brought Conkeldurr with Flame Orb, so that I can use that as a toxic blocker. So I decided to lead Rotom here to see what he'd do. I don't really mind if this thing gets poisoned. I kind of figured that he would either go for a toxic first, or he would go for some sort of hazard. So we just decided to Terastallize here and hit Blizzard, because even if he switches, Blizzard does a lot to things like Iron Treads and stuff. So Ice Moves are really good versus him. All right, so we Terastallize here. And then it looks like he stayed in with the Clodsire. I'm pretty sure if he switches out, he switches before Terastallization. I'm doing post-com of this, by the way, so I've seen this already. It happened yesterday, so I don't really remember specific details. So I hit the Blizzard here, and it does around 45 to 48%. It's about what I was expecting from the Blizzard. So he's very specially defensive. And it looks like he went for a Toxic first. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch out into... I think I switched into Conkeldurr. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I switch into Conkeldurr here because I don't think he's going to go for a second Toxic. I think he just thinks I'm going to like Blizzard a second time. Hoping for a miss, probably. Alright, so we switch out into Conkeldurr. And it looks like he's going to set up Stealth Rocks here. So we get our free Flame Orb off. It would have been really unfortunate if he did Toxic a second time, because then... Conkeldurr would be taking more damage, but I mean, he'd still get the Gust boost, even if he's like that, so yeah. So I could one-shot this thing with EQ. Fun fact, I was actually supposed to be high horsepower on this Conkeldurr, but I switched the team to my laptop, and I forgot to change it from Earthquake to high horsepower, so I lost that whenever I gen the team. So I have Earthquake. The reason why I was high horsepower is because Arboliva has a chance to beat Grassy Seed. I think that's the ability. And it has a chance to Grassy Terrain. And I get a crit here with a knockoff. I was actually thinking he might switch out and save that thing, but he didn't. So I got a crit there. Even if I didn't get a crit there, I'm not sure what he was going to do. And Earthquake was doing maybe 20% to me. I would have just hit an EQ the following turn. So he goes out in a Scyther. I'm not really wanting to take any damage versus it with my Conkeldurr, because, I mean, it's just going to one-shot with, like, Dueling Beat, or at least come close to one-shotting. I have to look at the specific calc again. But we built Rotom specifically for this Scyther, so we'll go in here and hopefully get some Rocky Helmet damage if he decides to U-turn or whatever he decides to do. So he decides to Swords Dance, which is interesting. That could get really scary, actually. I actually want to calc the damage of like a Swords Dance Dual Wing Beat versus Rotom. Because like Terra Flying Swords Dance Dual Wing Beat would be really scary to deal with. So I just decided to, I think, go for a Volt Switch to get some chip on this Scyther. I really wanted to see what he was going to do. Like, if he went, I think I lived Swords Dance Dueling Beat Terra Flying, and then I would become close to one-shotting with Volt Switch if he was Terra Flying, but it turns out he was actually Terra Normal. So I was kind of worried if I was going to be able to deal with this thing, but seeing as he was Terra Normal, I always felt safe in coming in with CONK and hitting Mach Punch. So he went for a quick attack, which does a pretty decent chunk, and I did get some chip with Rocky Helmet. So we get out of there with Volt Switch and get some more chip on the Scyther. And then with him being down to half, I know CONK always kills with Mach Punch, so I just go straight into CONK here. Alright, so we're just going to check and see what he has. I forget what Pokemons he has. He does have the Ninetales, so we just go for Mach Punch here. It feels like this would be kind of a safe switch in for Ninetales if you let that thing go down. So that's kind of what I'm expecting to come out next is Ninetales. But we did build an Assault Vest Jirachi specifically for Alolan Ninetales, so I don't feel too worried about Ninetales. So in comes the Ninetales like I thought would come in. I figure he's either going to hit Moonblast or he's going to hit Aurora Veil. Like I said earlier, even if he has Aurora Veil up, Iron Head still does around 50% to the Ninetales, so we just go into Jirachi all day. He's doing negative damage to us anyway. I think maximum he's doing like 9% with Blizzard. Somewhere around there anyway. Take a little bit of Stealth Rocks damage, and we see that the Aurora Veil does come out. So me against him with the Jirachi, I think he doesn't want to let this thing go down because he really needs something to be able to do a lot of damage to CONK. So I'm thinking here, should I Body Slam to try and get a para on something? Should I just Iron Head to try and do damage to Ninetales if he stays in? Maybe. Or I can just U-turn out and get some momentum on something. So we decide to U-turn, and it looks like he does switch out, so that is amazing for us. The only thing I'm kind of worried about with this Arboliva, it's a pretty safe switch into Volcarona here. The only thing I'm worried about is if it was a choice spec set of some sort. Hyper Voice does do around 70% to my Volcarona, unfortunately, but I'm not quite sure what he's going to do. Volcarona doesn't have much usefulness outside of kind of taking on this Arboliva with the 6 that he brought, so we just go straight into Volk here. And with me U-turning, I think that showed me that he wasn't Seed Power, so he must be Harvest, I think is its other ability. Yeah, Harvest. So it makes me think it's more of a bulky set. So I kind of feel safe being in here with Volcarona. And even if he's a bulkier set, I can kind of use these turns to get rid of the Aurora Veil, because Veil is kind of a problem for me. Building this, I was worried about like Aurora Veil and then having like set up Latios or something. Like that would be really scary. But I really wanted to make sure I got rid of the Aurora Veil as soon as I could. At least stall out the turns. So we just Fiery Dance first to kind of see what kind of set he's running. Seems he's more bulky. He took less from that than I thought he would. And he does have a berry. I think that's Citrus Berry. Yeah, Citrus Berry. Citrus Berry Harvest. And we did get the special attack boost from that, which is amazing. And seeing how much Earth Power did and the fact that it didn't. Hyper Voice. Obviously, he's not Specs because I saw the Citrus Berry, but just learning a lot about his set right there in that one turn. So here I decided to go for a Bug Buzz, hoping that at +1 I would kill. I really hoped it did, but he decided to protect here, so I could have used this turn to heal, but yeah, we Bug Buzzed. I didn't know he'd be protect though, so wouldn't have known that until I saw it like I did. So at the end of this turn, we'll find out if the Ninetales was Light Clay. Earth Power does quite a bit. I definitely need this Volcarona healthy. So the snow stopped and the Aurora Veil is still up. So that does mean that the Ninetales is indeed Light Clay. Yeah, definitely take this turn to heal. I figured he was going to protect again, try and like fish out his berry for the harvest. All right, so now we just bug buzz again. We want to kill this Arboliva. I could have Fiery Danced here, try and get another special attack boost, but I'm worried that the Iron Tread has Stone Edge. Stone Edge 100% kills my Volcarona every time. Want to take as little damage on this thing as possible, just in case I need it later for something like Sableye. Even though Sableye is most likely going to try and Thunder Wave this Volcarona. Like, if Sableye comes in against the Volcarona, he's 100% Thunder Waving. And I can either switch into Swampert or CONK Elder because he's burned. But Sableye is always a little bit annoying to deal with. Anyone with Prankster and Thunder Wave is annoying to deal with. Alright, Arboliva goes down to our Bug Buzz, and then we'll see what he goes into next. So it turns out he does go into the Sableye, so that makes me think he's definitely going to try and Thunder Wave this Volcarona, which I do not want to have happen whatsoever. So I thought might as well go into Swampert here. See what the Sableye, what else he's trying to do, and also potentially set up rocks. Aside from like taking on the the Iron Treads, like I have multiple things to deal with Iron Treads. So I didn't really think this Swampert had too much of a usefulness. Besides setting up Stealth Rocks. We definitely always want Stealth Rock chips on things. Rocks are so useful, basically anytime. So there goes the Aurora Veil, and then we decide to just, I think I knock off or I stealth. I knocked off here to see what item this thing was, and it looks like he's Will-O-Wisping me. Since I didn't feel like the Swampert had much of a usefulness anyway, I don't really mind getting burned. It sucks that I can't do as much damage to the Iron Treads later, but he was Eject Button. Interestingly, okay, Eject Button, does it work whenever you get hit and then you swap? I don't remember. I have to look it up because, like, for example, Glycopod's emergency exit ability, when he gets half health, he switches out. I feel like Eject Button is just if you get hit, you switch out. But since I knocked it off with knockoff, it didn't switch him out. I think is what happened there anyway. So we got up the Stealth Rocks. We knocked off his item and saw it was Eject Button, which is really interesting. So now I kind of just feel like flip turning to get out into something else. If he switches, great. If he doesn't, I can just go into something that's not going to get status. So we just decide to go into Rotom, get more chip on the Sableye because it is pretty bulky from what I saw. He takes even more damage from my Rocky Helmet. I really just want to chip on this thing, to be honest. So I just thought hitting Blizzard would be fine. If I Volt Switch, I die to rocks anyway coming in, which I could have done to use Rotom as a sack once more. But I figured Iron Tread is still here. If I hit Volt Switch, it's just going to be immune, and then I'm going to die anyway to Toxic. So might as well just hit Blizzard to get more damage on everything. If I miss, I miss. If I don't, then, well, I get damage on something. So I hit Blizzard, and he did end up going into the Iron Treads, probably fishing for the Volt Switch. But I got the Blizzard, and it did almost half, which was amazing. And then Rotom goes down. I knew he was going down anyway. I figured if I Volt Switch, he goes into Treads. Rotom goes down anyway. So why not just get the most offense I could out onto the field? So looking here, I think there was a small chance that Mach Punch didn't kill the Iron Treads. I think it was doing maximum around 75%. And I think he's around 54, 55, if I had to guess. I can actually pull up the damage count real quick and see if I could check that. But thinking that he had a chance. Okay, he was under 50, so I could have just killed with Mach Punch. But I went into Dragapult. I knew I could live in Ice Spinner because he wasn't an attack boosted booster energy. And I had Cobra Berry, so if he knocked off me, I would live. So I just decided to go into the Dragapult to kill this thing. So like elite treads, like with CONK. Yeah, 60 to 71 Mach Punch. I definitely could have just Mach Punched with CONK Elder and killed the treads, but I made the other play instead because I don't think I calced it at the time, to be honest. So definitely don't want to get statused on the Dragapult either. So we just go straight into the CONK Elder, thinking he's either going to Thunder Wave or try and Will-O-Wisp us or something. But yeah, he tried a Thunder Wave. It fails. So I can just get a nice Earthquake off on anything. I think it's just the Sableye and the Ninetales left. Yeah. So Earthquake would do a lot of damage to anything. It would kill the Sableye. It would do quite a bit of damage to the Ninetales as well. So he showed us Taunt. And we just Earthquake and kill the Sableye here. And then all that's left is Ninetales, and I know that Jirachi can safely 1v1 that thing. Alright, out comes Ninetales. And then I 100% switch into Jirachi here. Like, even with the defense boost, even Aurora Veil up, I do so much damage with Iron Head because, first off, Ninetales isn't a very defensive Mon. And, like, it gets a defense boost in Snow. Aurora Veil will also give it another defense boost. It still does almost 50% to the Ninetales Iron Head does. It was another thing that I was kind of interested, like, it was interesting that it didn't come was a Titan. I could have seen a Slush Rush set doing pretty decently into me. I did have Overgrowth for Intimidate. Kind of Swampert was the Mon that I wasn't too sure on bringing. I think I brought it to deal better with the Infernape and the Treads, but I was debating on bringing Overquill as well for Intimidate, and I ultimately decided on Swampert. Yeah, I wasn't really sure on the last Mon. It could have been multiple things, but I definitely knew that I didn't want to bring Serena. It really sucked not having hazards because I figured Clodsire was coming, which it did. But I don't know. I just didn't feel very good running Defog on CONK. And I didn't bring Serena because he has so many ice types, fire types. So much stuff to deal with Serena that, like, just, it was like a throwaway Mon if I brought Serena. That's what it felt like. But we won here, 5-0. GG's Lalo. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting match overall. Scary things that I honestly hated prepping for. I hated Clodsire. Oh, that thing was such a nightmare. The Swords Dance Scizor could have been really scary. Maybe if it was like Terra Flying, maybe. But seeing the Terra Normal, it just let CONK Elder come in and kill it almost 100% of the time with Mach Punch. Yeah, I think the Scyther would have been even more of a problem if it was like Terra Flying Swords Dance. That would have been really scary, but GG's. This was week 1 of the PUDL, I think. Pokemon Ultra Draft League. This is the first week. I'm new into this server, so I'm still learning everybody, and it's going to be very fun battling with you all. I can't wait to see the rest of the season and see how it pans out. Take care, guys.